Hey guys, welcome to 180 Drums. We're here in the challenge. We're hanging out with Luke, and he's giving us a lesson on dynamics. Dude, what do you got for us?
So, okay, you might have heard me say this a million times before because this is what I like to preach is dynamics. And one way that I was taught was say you were the master of dynamics. I didn't know a single thing about it. I just for all my drumming career, I've just been playing super loud, whatever. So, say we were asked to do drum solos each 10 minutes, 10 minutes, and in front of a crowd of 100 people who has no idea about drums. They're just here to watch. And I go up there and I'm playing super fast, crazy, loud stuff. 3 minutes in, they're going to be like, yeah, sick. 6 minutes in, they're going to be like, okay, we get it. 8 minutes in, they're going to be like this, you know what I mean? So, and then you go up there, you're playing musical, it's going like this dynamic, there's musicality to it. They're going to be interested the whole time. You have to make your drumming musical have a point rather than just noise,
Yes.
So I marched snare drum on drumline for 3 semesters while I was in high school, a long time ago. And when I was doing that, my instructor drilled us with dynamics, and I learned this exercise. It's pretty common. It's just having 4 different stick heights. You have 3, 6, 9, and 12. And so what that is the amount of inches off the drum head. So I'll do it maybe up here on the hi-hat or something. But you have 3 here, so here, 6, 9, and then 12. 12 is that 90-degree angle like this. 3 is that ghost note. A lot of people ask me about ghost notes, and that's just that 3-inch stroke right there. The 6 and the 9 are kind of the in-betweens.
Yeah.
So it's really good to know all 4 variations of your dynamics and be able to control them always.
Yes.
You should have complete control over your sticks.
Can you go through and demonstrate some of the 3, 6, 9, and 12 just on the snare there, and we'll throw to our snare cam, which we do have set up, and we'll take a look at the height on that.
Cool,
and
yeah.
Get a good idea for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, were you playing traditional when you were marching?
Yes, I played traditional. Yeah, sorry, just have it.
That's great, man.
But yeah, same thing. Obviously, match grip is the exact same thing. It's just about controlling those dynamics. And you want your right hand 3-inch stroke to be identical height-wise. Drumming to me is as, like, visual as it is audible for me. So when I'm playing, I'm watching my stick heights and I'm making sure they're even and they're consistent, So those 3-inch strokes you want to be the exact same, 6-inch strokes, 9-inch strokes, 12-inch strokes. So you want it to all be as consistent as possible.
That's great, man. Now let's talk a little bit about grip. Why do you play matched grip?
I play match grip just because when I'm playing kit and I'm trying to move, like I will mess around traditional, but usually it's only between like these kick, snare, and hi-hat, like when I'm messing around, because it's very easy for me to play that way. Like when I'm trying to move my left hand around when I'm playing traditional, I find that it's hard to get a lot of power, but that's also a lot of practice. When you extend your arm out, you go into your rack tom or your floor tom or whatever, So for me, it's just a lot more comfortable to play match. I can get a lot of power out of it, but I can also control super low 3-inch dynamics.
That's great, man. Now, to transition, when you talk about these variations in height, is 3 and 12 kind of your go-tos?
Yes. I would say the 6 and the 9 are good to know. If you're doing build-ups or things like that, obviously it's always good to know. But the 12 and the 3, for me, are the most important ones. Those are the ones I'm always focusing on. And this is kind of difficult for me to explain sometimes. Sometimes people don't get it. But most people think when they're drumming, your 12-inch stroke, this is the comfortable thing. For me, it's the opposite. Like, I play, everything stems from 3 inches. If there's an accent coming, I think, oh, here comes an accent. I have to bring my stick up, rather than everything stemming from up here, and oh, here comes ghost notes. I have to bring my sticks down. It's a lot easier for everything to stem from here. It's a lot less effort, but everything just sounds more clean. You know what I mean?
Right.
So for me, everything stems from the 3. If it's not a 3, it's usually a 12. So that's just like the basic premise of all of my playing is that right there.
Now, I know you prepared some different exercises for us where we actually need to practice this, but just before we get to that, does that mean for yourself that if you were to just move around the kit naturally playing different patterns, would you practice everything at a 3? Is that how you've learned to get really comfortable with the 3 around the drum set?
For me, like when I'm doing stuff, say I'm doing something fast and complex around the kit, it's usually not. I'm very, very seldom do I do 3-inch strokes on the toms when I'm doing fast stuff. Usually all the ghost note work and the low dynamic stuff is on the snare.
Right.
That doesn't mean I never do it, because I do. It's just, it's good to practice these exercises even, up here or down here. But yeah, I don't know.
That's awesome, man. No, that's great. So you're saying essentially when you're thinking 3, most of it's all centered around the snare. And then as you're moving, that's where you're exploring the 12s, the 6 and the 9s.
Exactly. But also, same thing on the hi-hat. So like real quick, I'll demonstrate. Like all the notes in between, I try to keep it 3, and I try to bring all those accents. It's the same thing everywhere. It's just all about context,
Yeah.
And the way that I personally play drums is I use my toms more so for accents and things that jump out rather than I don't spend a whole lot of time on my toms.
Yeah.
Not very often. It's usually this quick stuff. So it's usually at a 12-inch stroke most of the time.
That's very cool, man. That's given us great insight into your playing and also how we should approach the drum sets. That's great. Dude, why don't you show us these exercises that you've got in mind?
Yeah. So the first one is the basic one. It's just the easiest one to do. This is just kind of an introductory to the whole thing. It's 8 notes of each dynamic on the right hand, 8 notes of each dynamic on the left hand, so you just cycle through. It's important, like I was saying earlier, your 3-inch strokes you want to be the exact same, 6, 9, 12. You don't want like your 3 to be up here on your right hand and your 3 to be down here on your left, or vice versa. You want it all to be, watch your stick heights, make sure that it's all consistent. The other thing is when people start, they're at the 12, they're right at the end on their right hand, and they go to the 3-inch stroke on their left hand. It's very common that people will accent that first note. Because, like I said, people stem from up here.
Right.
You should stem from down here. Well, that's how I do things. You can do whatever you want, but that's just how I view it. So make sure that when you're doing 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, you go straight to the 3 and no
great,
accents
man.
or anything
That's
like
great.
that. All right, cool. So I'll go through that real quick.
That's
like that.
perfect, man.
So just developing that control, getting really comfortable with that, speed it up, slow it down, do whatever you have to do.
And we're going to work on that in the practice video together, which is going to be
Exactly.
awesome. They're actually going to get a chance to practice along with you so that it's got that interactive element, which
Awesome.
is great.
Yeah.
Now, you had one more exercise as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So this one you can do anything you want, honestly. So I'll just take a really basic accent pattern. So we'll do this. Super easy, nothing crazy. It's just all about that contrast of the 12 and the 3.
Yeah. Cool. So that's one we'll work on. Why don't you give us another accent pattern we can develop together?
Sure.
Awesome, man.
And I just made that up. You can do whatever you want. Any pattern, as long as it stays the same on the right to the left, and you're just that contrast, like I was saying.
Do you want to give us one more?
Sure.
Now we just get to try and memorize all those.
Yeah, do whatever you want, man.
That's awesome, man. That's great. Thanks for breaking all this down for us and helping us to really understand this. And
Of course, yeah.
I think that it's cool because now that I've been able to sit here and watch your playing and spend really late nights just chatting with you, learning about the way you approach stuff. I think the biggest thing I'm realizing is just that you're very articulate and pointed with what you're doing. Now that doesn't mean that everything is super thought out, but you're approaching at least each concept having really solidified these ideas first.
Yeah, definitely. Right? It's like I was saying in another video that we did. It's all about prior knowledge.
Right.
The more you learn, the more you apply it to your playing. Like just everything just gets so much easier, and you can just pull stuff out of your butt, man.
I'm amazed. I'm amazed by you with that, because you can sit here and like come up with a new groove, a new idea. It feels almost endless.
Yeah.
And that all stems from the amount of work you've put in to get to that place. So
exactly.
So people shouldn't feel discouraged if it's like, man, how come I can't learn that quick, or this idea play it that fast? It takes time. And
yep. Yeah. It's seriously developing your brain. That's all it is. I feel like just in that feeling of linear playing, where everything's just one thing at a time, is just like, once you grasp the concept, it's infinite from there. You can just go and do it. Like you were saying, I could play something new every single time.
Yeah.
And that I've never played before. It's just like, it's just all about learning your stuff, man.
Awesome, man. Well, just before we end off this lesson, anything else you want to mention on grip? Anything else you really think about, even in the way you actually hold your sticks, how they fit into your hand?
Yeah, so something interesting about grip, like I said, in drumline I learned traditional.
Yep.
Obviously my right hand stays the same with traditional. It's the left hand that switches. But I play kit, match grip. I was taught, there was a certain way to do things, and I used to adamantly believe that, oh no, if your wrist isn't turned over like this, then you're doing it wrong. But as I've developed more as a player and as an individual and have my own style, I found everything that just doesn't really matter, dude.
Right.
It's crazy. And I used to think it did. And I mean, obviously if you're playing you know what I mean? You got something bad going on. But when for example, when I'm going to the ride, I'm playing French grip, my thumb's on top.
Yeah.
When I'm doing stuff like this. And when I go to the bell, my wrist will turn over. Just little things like that. And when I don't know, just grip changes around the kit, and that's just completely natural. But yeah, I mean, for me, my main thing is that your strokes should stem from your wrist.
Right.
A lot of people do just not a lot, but I've seen some drummers who are all arm. And if you're trying to do all that dynamic and rudimental stuff, dude, that's going to be so hard to do if you're just all arm. So there's this, I've heard people say, oh, well, you can't get enough power with your wrist. That's dumb. You can get all the power with your wrist, because you can use your arm as well, but wrist is control, for me. So if you're doing those strokes from the wrist, if your pinkies aren't like this all the time, I think you're fine, honestly. That's just my view on it.
Awesome, man. And are you thinking consciously about using your fingers a lot?
Yes. Yeah. when most of my rudiments and stuff that I'm doing, majority of them have doubles in them naturally, and that's a lot of finger, I'm not when I double, I'm not using my wrist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That, a lot of it's, you can hear that on my hand, maybe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know. Fingers are crucial as well.
Dude, thanks so much for taking the time to lay a great foundation for all of us who are learning to, I mean, even for myself, that makes me want to go back and really think about my heights. Yeah. Making sure that I'm aware of that. So let's head to the practice video now and work on these.
Cool, let's do it.
And we'll see you guys in the next 180 challenge.
Sweet, thank you.